Everyone likes to receive parcels, but some people think they can just take whatever they want, even if it has another name on the label. That morning, I was in my pajamas, drinking coffee and planning a lazy day. Just me, my sofa, and some series to marathon. But of course, the tranquility didn't last. The notification from the carrier's app arrived. Your order has been delivered. Great. I got up, opened the door, and nothing. No box, no package, just the wind blowing in my face. That's when I looked across the street, and there she was, the neighbor I barely knew, holding my package as if it were her own. It was a scene straight out of a movie. The woman stood there holding the box, turning it around in her hands as if trying to guess what was inside. She looked like a child at Christmas, about to open a present. The problem was that it wasn't from her. I stood there for a moment, trying to process it. Was she just picking it up to give it to me later? Maybe the delivery man had left it at the wrong door, and she, as a good citizen, was just saving it to give back to me. But then she started tearing the sticker off the box. It was then that I realized she had no intention of giving me anything back. My mind was torn between two options. I could simply go over there, take the box from her hand, and end the problem in 5 seconds. Or I could wait and see how far it went. Because, honestly, some people need to learn the hard way. So I stood there, watching. The woman looked around, perhaps checking to see if anyone was watching, but she never looked directly at me. As if she simply ignored my existence, I would automatically cease to be there. A brilliant thought, really. After a few seconds of silent tension, she turned her back and started walking into her house, holding my package as if it were a personal achievement. No hesitation, no shame, just the sheer conviction of someone who believes that the whole world revolves around them. The best part? My name was on the box. My name, my address, all the proof any human being with a modicum of common sense would need to understand that the package didn't belong to her. But apparently, some people live in a parallel reality, where common rules simply don't apply. I took a deep breath. I could have run and taken the box out of her hands right then and there, but curiosity kept me waiting. What exactly goes through the mind of someone who takes something that isn't theirs and acts like it's the most normal thing in the world? The answer came when the woman entered her house, still holding my package, and closed the door, without even looking back. Not a shred of doubt or guilt. Nothing at all. Now I was officially curious. I went upstairs to my apartment and waited a few minutes. Nothing. No attempt to return it, no message, no knock on my door. The woman had really decided that the package belonged to her. It was then that something occurred to me. Had this ever happened before? Was this common practice for her? Did the delivery man get a number wrong, and then the woman simply added a new item to her personal collection? I began to remember other neighbors commenting on packages that disappeared. At the time, I thought it was the delivery men's fault, but now I was beginning to have my doubts. After about 10 minutes of waiting, I looked out of the window. Her car was still in the garage. The world was exactly as it had been before. The only difference was that now I had a mission, to get back what was mine, and, preferably, to make this woman understand that taking what wasn't hers wasn't a good idea. Oh, and the funniest thing? I knew exactly what was inside the box, and I couldn't wait to see her reaction when she found out. I'm not the type to lose my temper easily, but to see someone steal a package to my face, walk into their own house as if nothing had happened, and just carry on as if I were a ghost, that triggered something inside me. There I was, looking out of the window, wondering what that woman's next move would be. Was she going to open the box? Would she try to sell what was inside? Or, in a fit of conscience, would she give it back to me with a fake smile, pretending it was all just a mistake? I waited. 10 minutes. 20 minutes. Absolute silence. Then I had an idea. What if I let nature take its course? I knew exactly what was in that box. I knew that as soon as she opened it, the universe would take its revenge on me. The woman left the house about half an hour later, empty-handed. This could mean two things. Either she hadn't opened the package yet, or she had already discovered the surprise and was trying to process what to do next. I sat on the sofa and waited some more, imagining all the possible reactions. If she had opened it, she was probably trying to find a way to get rid of it, without having to admit that she had taken something that wasn't hers. If she hadn't opened it yet, well, her moment was coming. Time passed, and suddenly I heard a noise outside, the familiar sound of a door opening and closing quickly. I got up and went to the window. There was the woman, crossing the street again. But now, unlike before, she was holding the package in a strange way, as if she were holding a garbage bag that she didn't want to touch too much. She didn't look sideways. She just walked fast, determined. She reached my door, put the package down, and rang the bell, just once. Without waiting for an answer, she turned on her heels and disappeared back into the house like a cat caught stealing food from the table. I stood there, analyzing the scene. She could have made up any excuse. She could have tried to argue, or at least disguise herself. But no, her haste to return spoke for itself. I opened the door, looked down and saw the box. It was still half open, as if it had been snatched from the clutches of someone who had changed their mind too late. I smiled. I bet that woman would never pick up another package after what she found inside that box. There it was, dumped on my doorstep like a cursed gift. The box, which minutes ago had been so dear to the woman, now seemed like a burden she couldn't wait to get rid of. And the rush to return it could only mean one thing. She had opened it. Oh, how I wish I could have seen her face the moment she realized what was inside. I picked up the box from the floor and looked at it. It was open anyway, with the sides torn as if someone had tried to close it at the last minute and given up. That was already a good sign. It meant that her curiosity had been greater than her common sense. I went in, put the package on the table and checked the contents. And there they were, exactly as I'd expected. My beautiful, wonderful, gigantic Velcro orthopedic slippers. Yes, she had stolen a package, believing she was taking something valuable, something special. And in the end, she found a pair of size 44 orthopedic slippers, worthy of a pensioner picking up the newspaper in the garage. I could perfectly imagine the moment of despair, the anticipation growing as she opened the box, the eyes shining as she imagined what might be inside, and then the ultimate disappointment when she found them. And of course, these were no ordinary slippers. They were the ugliest, most exaggerated models I could find, with thick soles, prominent stitching, and a depressing beige color that screamed, "back problem." I had bought them to wear at home. No big deal, but now they had fulfilled a much greater purpose, to teach that woman a lesson. The question on my mind was, what exactly was she hoping to find? Money? An electronic? A rare and valuable item? Because she clearly wasn't interested in anything when she picked up the box. If she had been, she would have looked at the label and realized it wasn't hers. But no, she acted on impulse, saw a delivery, and decided she could just take it for herself. And now, as well as keeping nothing, she had to live with the shame of having been caught red-handed. But the icing on the cake came when I looked out of the window and saw her peeking out from behind the curtain, trying to see if I'd noticed the package back on my doorstep. Oh, I had. And I wasn't going to let it go unnoticed. She thought she could pick up a random package and get away with it. But now, there the woman was, hiding behind the curtain, waiting to see my reaction to finding the box back on my doorstep. Oh, I noticed, and I made a point of making it obvious. I picked up the package, looked around, frowned as if I were trying to solve a mystery. I made a point of holding the box in both hands, inspecting it very slowly, shaking it a little, as if to make sure nothing had been tampered with. I could feel her eyes burning into me. Then, as if that wasn't enough, I slowly turned to the side of her house and gave a friendly wave to the window where I knew she was hiding. I didn't need to see her face to know that she cringed with embarrassment. Now, any normal person would have let that story die there. But I wanted to make sure that woman never tried anything like that again. I went into the house and started preparing my small change. I took out a piece of paper and wrote a very simple note. I think there's been a mistake. Did someone accidentally open my package? If you need orthopedic slippers, I can recommend some very comfortable ones. I put the note in an envelope, went to her door, and left it there, right on the doormat. No knocking, no ringing the bell, just a subtle reminder that I knew exactly what had happened. The next morning, the envelope was gone. And the most curious thing? After that day, I never saw this woman approach any deliveries in the neighborhood. The packages stopped at everyone's door and stayed there until the owner picked them up, without mysteriously disappearing like before. A few weeks later, I ran into one of the neighbors in the elevator and made an innocent comment. "Have you ever had a package disappear out of nowhere?" He laughed. "In the past, yes. But I think the person who was picking it up gave up. They must have found something unexpected." I didn't need to say any more. I just smiled and went on my way. The woman continued to live there, but now she always looked away when she saw me. She never tried to make conversation again, never looked at my door, and certainly never picked up anything that wasn't hers. And me? Well, every time I put on my orthopedic slippers, I laugh remembering that story. Have you ever experienced something similar? Do you know someone who thinks they can just take what isn't theirs without thinking twice? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this story, don't forget, subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and activate the bell so you don't miss the next videos. Want to see more unbelievable stories like this? Click on the card and come check it out. See you in the next video.